Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of the mentorpodcast.com. Now, if you're on here for the first time, write that down and go join it, so you'll be alerted when we broadcast this event every single Wednesday, and also you'll be able to get all the archived podcasts in the past. And I don't know how many of them. There's a lot of them, and we talked to some very cool people on this podcast. In fact, I got one of them right here beside me. His name is Adel Kayati. Try spelling that. Now that's Adel, not Adele.
Yeah.
He don't sing a lick. Right? It's not Adele. All right. Now, Adel happens to be my partner in the real estate business and / acquisitionist. And frankly, he is my real estate business because he does all the work and I do very little, which is where I'd like to get you guys someday. In fact, we just closed one this week.
Yes, sir.
We sold a house for 200 and something.
202.
202. Okay, we rehabbed that one. What did we pay for it? 112?
115.
115.
Yeah.
Paid 115 for it. Rehab, just sold it through a realtor for 202,000. Now we only netted 32,000 on this property, which is beneath my normal standards. But remember, we sold it with a realtor. That sucked up some of the profit, and we had a lot of overage on the repair cost on things we didn't know was in there. But so what? It's gone now, and I guess 32,000 is better than no thousand, right? Alex?
I was happy. I don't have as high as expectations as you do yet.
Yeah, that's not acceptable for a rehab job. And it took about 3 months to get everything rehab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Now, simultaneously, we're going to get a contract on tomorrow, and it's a $500,000 house. Beautiful house. Only a couple years old.
Yep.
All right. And they were only asking $450 for it, so we're giving them their asking price. I think I might get them down a little.
Yeah, I think we can.
And no money. They didn't ask for a down payment, and we're not going to give them a down payment. I am going to pay the closing costs, which is going to be about $4,000 on that house. And I'm going to take over their debt of $335. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to do a wraparound mortgage.
Yeah.
I'll owe them $450. They owe $335 underlying loan. Let me say that again, because people get confused with this wrap stuff. They asked $450. They agreed to take it. To let me take over the payments of $2,800 and just pay out on it every single month with a 10-year balloon on it. Right? 10 years.
Yes, sir.
So I have 10 years to do whatever I want to do with that house. Of course, I'm going to put a lease option tenant buyer in it. And frankly, if somebody hadn't bought it by the time the 10th year comes, I'm just going to get him to extend it anyway, most likely. But I will own that property for 10 years. So by owning it, I got it free. Don't forget that part. Nobody checked my credit. I didn't fill out any application. We don't do that on Planet Ron. The worst thing I want you to do is guarantee debt. Do not guarantee debt, or it could very easily come back and haunt you. It puts a lot of people out of business when things don't go right. So anyway, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to close on it whenever she's ready. And then we're going to put a tenant buyer in it. Let's see, that house is worth $500,000. What do you think we ought to sell it for?
520.
Nah, 529.9.
Okay.
That's what's going on. 529.9. Okay. So that means we owe the seller $450, selling for $529.9. We got $79,000 that we can collect from a tenant buyer to apply toward that purchase price. And of course, we can take anything below that we want. I would expect we get at least $50,000 as a non-refundable deposit on that property, which stands for non-refundable deposit is INROD. You might hear that term a lot, INROD. All right. Adel, how did you find this property?
Kathy, this one, she came from a postcard.
Postcard?
Yeah.
Mailed to what kind of list?
This list was, I don't know. I have to check on that one. Yeah, just
All right.
Yeah.
Well, who are you mailing to? We'll start there.
Yeah, we mail to pre-foreclosures, bankruptcy, divorce, absentee owners, high equity, tired landlords. We don't just target one particular list. It's kind of a mixture of everything in it.
And nowadays, you're pulling your own list.
Yes,
They
sir.
don't cost you anything.
Yep.
Okay, guys, you got to get acquainted with our new Dreams Pro, dreamspro.com. Okay, it's part of our Gold Club system. This thing is incredible. You can sit there at your desk and pull any information you want on every house in America with the help of AI. In fact, that's Dreams Pro AI, isn't it?
Dreamspro.ai.
Dreams Pro, you got it. Dreamspro.ai. So he's pulling his own list and narrowing them down to the narrowest of narrow. In fact, you do that on your training for the mentorees watching, don't you?
Yes, sir. Every Thursday, 2
Okay.
p.m. Eastern, have a call and take questions on Deal Finder and anything else students are struggling with.
Well, write that down. Dreamspro.ai.
Yes, sir.
That's the total.
That's it. That's it.
All right, okay. And all the information is right there on it. And I'm telling you, this thing could be the only thing you need to do to buy houses. Now, this system not only lets you pull a very qualified list for you, but it also does the mailing for you. All you got to do is tell it what postcard to mail or use one of theirs or whatever, and it'll even do a sequential mailing, all autopilot. This is what I've been looking for. In other words, it's got all the tools to do the mailing. It's got all the tools to pull a list. It's got all the tools to skip search everything for
10 cents an address. Yeah.
10 cents each. Got a comps on there. It's got everything you need right there in one place. And it comes with our VA service, which you need to have people use to call the sellers and fill out the property information sheets on it. And there's a whole list of things that VAs can assist you with. So anyway, that's the find of the month right there for us. Okay. And we're working the crap out of it.
Yep.
And that's not all we're doing. What else are we doing?
Yep. I just started running some Facebook ads recently. This is my first weekend into it. It took a little bit of time the content creation was actually the more difficult part than actually setting up the ads. But so far I got nine leads in the first eight days so far. 3 of them, I'm running 2 campaigns, one nationwide, one here, about 50-mile radius here of Jacksonville. And 3 came local here, and the other 6 were kind of spread out all over the country. So right now, the lead cost per lead on doing that, I think it's like $32 right now per lead. Yeah,
that's cheap.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
That is cheap. I tell you. Now you're running your own.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yep.
Bunch of people out there you can hire to do all this for you, but they want to get paid every month, plus their media costs. So how much are you spending right now on media?
For Facebook?
Yeah.
$10 a day per campaign. So, and you told me to move it to 20 today, but yeah, as of right now, $600 between 2 campaigns a month.
So it's $10 a day for Google and $10 a day for Facebook. And I told you, you're getting most of your leads from.
Well, I'm only running ads on Facebook. There's no Google involved. It's just 2 separate campaigns. One campaign is running to Jacksonville area, and one campaign is running to kind of nationwide. And there's separate videos you can make per thing.
So where did your calls come? How many did you get nationwide opposed to?
I got 6 nationwide and 3 here local.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then which one do we want to double?
I was going to do Jacksonville just because we're going to be here.
Yeah, let's double that.
Yeah.
I spend a whopping $20 a day on getting Jacksonville leads now. Okay. Now again, he didn't know anything about how to do it either. He went right on the site and it taught him what to do. But there are folks out there that really understand what they're doing when it comes to buying leads for you. And a lot of my most successful students have somebody buying Facebook and Google ads for them. Not a necessity, but it's a pretty cheap investment. I don't want you to be spending a lot of money now on these ads or anything else for that matter until you learn how to handle that closing call. Most of you have been trained by me, you know what I'm talking about. An ad gets you somebody calling you and ain't going to help you with if you blow it right on the call because you don't know what to say. We have scripts for all of that. And if you haven't been to my quick start training, put it on your agenda. I do one every month, and some virtual and some live in some city somewhere. We're doing Jacksonville here in November of this year, which if you're watching this late, that's 2024 we're in right now. Okay. All right. So what else do you do to get leads other than Facebook and
mail?
Mail.
And I think but I'm a big proponent of outbound calling, cold calling. I pull a list, I call them. There's not a week that goes by I don't get several leads from just calling the list that we pull from Deal Finder, which makes it a lot easier. I used to pull these large, just pull zip code lists or every vacant house in Jacksonville. Like that's a hard lift, but when your list is cut in half and the only people you're talking to are the ones that have high scores, it's
explain that. By the way, it's not Deal Finder, it's Dreams.
Dreams. Sorry, yes, sir.
I got lectures on that
Yes,
earlier.
sir. Yeah.
Okay. In other words, you just go down the list and punch on the qualified, whatever you want. Like if they're in foreclosure, that's the list.
Yep.
If they're out of town, vacant property, that's the list.
Yes, sir.
Boom, 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 all the way down.
You pick whatever ones you want.
So you pick, you don't want to pick them all. You want to just pick something, whatever your favorite thing to mail to. Like we like mailing to estates, right?
Probate. Yes, sir.
Probate. Yeah, we like mailing them. Bought several houses on probate. But honestly, this is a tool you can use to target the pretty houses or the ugly houses, because I can mail to people. You're going to pick the area. He picks Jacksonville, which is 3 counties, which all 3 of them probably entail 3 million people, would be my guess, between St. Augustine and Jacksonville. And
I know here in Jacksonville, it's like 305,000 properties that pull up just in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Whenever you do that, yeah.
So now you put in the criteria, and it pulls everything up in that criteria.
Yes, sir.
And now you want to narrow it on down. You add another motivated type seller, and another until you get you a really nice, extremely qualified list. And now you don't have to go mailing a bunch of thousands of letters. You just mail to this very small list, which you can even do at your home, watching TV if you wanted to, or your 16-year-old could mail them for you, because it's just not that many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the, not only do you can do the list, my favorite part is make your house avatar. What is your ideal house, investing house, right? Minimum 1,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built after this year. So not only can you pull the list targeted specifically based on their score, the situation, now every call I'm going to get, I know it's going to be on a house that I can, because sometimes you get these calls on a 2-1, 700 square foot, and you can make money on that, but that's a tougher one to sell.
You got that right.
So when you can narrow it down to only getting the leads that you know you can buy, and it's awesome.
It makes the business a whole lot easier.
It does.
By the way, I just said you could mail it. You don't even have to. They'll mail it for you. I'm telling you, they will mail cheaper than you can buy a stamp, and that's true. So it's a turnkey thing. We're excited about it.
Yes, sir.
And that's Dreams
Pro.ai.
Pro.ai.
That's it.
All right. So how long you and I have been working together now?
It's been over 1.5 years. We started January of last year, so we're coming up on 2 years actually.
So you actually used to own some restaurants with your parents, didn't you?
Yeah. My dad, brother, and I. We had at one point we had 11 Denny's restaurants between Texas and here in Jacksonville and St. Augustine. And we sold the ones in Texas a few years back, and then COVID happened, and we were miserable. We weren't happy in the business, right? No. Man, it's been nice since we've sold. Our family's kind of, now we're actually a family. We used to get together and just talk business. Now we actually talk about each other, and that's nice. So no, it's been good. It's been good.
They're a good example of having business suck up their life.
Yeah,
they?
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
You can't run 11 restaurants and you be the one that's handling everything. You'd
I'd
be up a wall. So actually, then I rescued you from the restaurant business.
You did. You absolutely did. I wasn't sure. I was going to do this full time regardless, and the timing worked out when you asked me, and I said, "Thank God." Yes, sir.
And he used to be one of my in my local membership group where I dealt with students locally. That's where I met him, and he did 7 wholesale deals a year before we met. So he didn't know crap about terms, though. I'll tell you that.
I had to relearn it.
In fact, I'm gonna get one of them this week.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And maybe another one. All right. So can you tell us anything else you use that generates leads?
The calls. Now I do like services. I know we use Nick or Lead Mining Pro. I do think there's a lot of value in texting. I just know that it's really kind of risky right now to send mass text out. So he'll do that for you, and he takes the risk and gives me the lead. So I said, why not? So I do think that's another option that you could, because I do think people respond to text more than any other channel. So that is another opportunity.
Well, let me clear that up now, because there's a lot of misconception on that illegal versus legal texting. When somebody advertises their phone number that they're selling their house, it is not illegal to text them. That law is dedicated to the big companies that do massive text unsolicited text. You're not going to get in trouble with that in the real estate industry.
Well, that's what we're doing, though. We're sending those mass texts to these lists. Like we'll pull a list from Deal Finder and send it
I'm not worried about it a bit.
Okay. All right.
If I go to jail, you're going to at least send me some money, right?
Well, that's why I went to him. I can send it back up. I used to do it myself a few years ago, and I kind of stopped, but it definitely works.
Well, I don't want you to do anything illegal. At least you should do is check with an attorney and see if there's any issues, because a lot of that is state by state as well. All right. So, Adel, about how many houses what do you think we'd buy? 2?
I would say, right around 2, typically.
So we're not setting the world on fire. And frankly, just getting cranked up good, and we're going to ramp up our marketing. And some of those are all cash deals, and some of those are terms deals. I like both. I buy for cash, or I agree to buy for cash. I sell for cash, which either means rehab them and repair them or wholesale them. I got photos of 5 houses we wholesaled a few months ago. 5 houses, wholesale them. Never bought the houses. Just flipped the contract and netted $147,000 on those 5 houses that we never owned. So, people ask me all the time, what's the fastest way to get a check? I'll always say it's wholesaling. But on the other hand, the downside is you get a check, you give the government half, and you got to get up and go to work every day to do it. I want you to learn the terms business, ladies and gentlemen, for your own good, because I get the big checks on the in-rods. I get the monthly spread. That's residual income. I get the back-end payoff when they finance it out if they ever do. I get the appreciation. I get the depreciation, and I get the debt pay down. One house, continuous revenue streams on that one house. Can only do that in terms business. Can't do that when I'm flipping and cashing out. Nothing wrong with getting cash. Okay, you just got a check yesterday. Nothing wrong with it, was there?
There was nothing wrong with it, no, sir.
So far,
my wife was happy.
So far, he hasn't turned it back. He said, "You don't want this."
No, it's not going to happen either. So,
all right. So listen, what would you advise our listeners to do if they're just getting started? No, you're also one of our mentors now.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And so you handle all those front end issues, which are all the same, incidentally, folks. We don't have any new ones. Just new to you.
Yeah.
What do you see as their biggest issue when they're starting?
I mean, it's always the unknown, right? And it really stems around the phone, getting on the telephone, talking to sellers, afraid they're going to mess up, afraid they're going to mess up a deal or say the wrong thing or not know what to say. And that does paralyze a lot of people, and they stay stuck in that position.
Yeah.
Sometimes for months and sometimes forever. You know, so it's just a matter of
keeps a lot of them from getting into business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, think about it for a moment. Tell me any business that you can get into where you don't have to learn new stuff and get out of your comfort zone for a while. It certainly ain't the restaurant business. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I had 6 restaurants. I was glad to get rid of the last one.
Yeah, I bet.
I had to write a check most of the months out of the year.
Yeah.
That's not the way you get rich in America, just for the record. All right. So the biggest problem is frankly getting over the fear.
Basically fear.
Yeah.
And really just putting in the time and work to do so, because it's not going to happen overnight. You really got to get your teeth kicked in a little bit on the phone sometime at the beginning, right? And some people don't like that, but if you can get through the mud, that first 30 days of mud and getting over it, you're going to be better, way better on the other side for it. And you're going to be able to develop your business and achieve what you want to achieve, because that's where it starts and ends. Well, no matter what you do, you're going to have that conversation. And if you can't get it, then you might as well just stop.
And I've just made that as easy as I can. I mean, in my boot camp manual, there's 14 mistakes that people make on the phone. And you go home and practice, and using my scripts, which are very short, pretty soon you'll be very good on the telephone. And it don't take very long, but you got to practice. And it's easy to practice because all you're doing is reading the scripts. So if you can read a script, you can conquer this very quickly. All right. So seems like we're doing more than that to get deals. I know you're putting out flyers.
Yeah, we've been the door hangers.
Let me see. Give me that thing right behind you. Give me that full price there. Not that one. There you go. Okay. This is a roadside sign, and Adel put a few kids in the car and drove to the neighborhood, lower end neighborhoods. And he was actually driving there to let them put door hangers on the doors. There they are. This and this, 1 2-sided. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll hold it up there if you want to take a picture of it. Whoop, not there. Snap it quick now. then I'll turn it over. So that's what my sign says, full price for your house and a phone number, and that's all it needs to say. Now we put these on the door.
Yep.
And while you're putting them on the door, you find a place to put them on the road where they're not in somebody's yard. And that goes on simultaneously. So you're putting up signs, you're putting door hangers on the doors. They can't get in the house without taking this off the door. So it got delivered. And you're also looking for realtor signs in front of ugly vacant houses. And when you see anybody out in their yard, you stop and ask them questions. And I mean, I'm looking for houses in this area. You know anybody that's got one? You watch what happens. You mark my word. It'll lead you to deals
Every time.
Now, here's another thing you can do. You can take this sign, have somebody take a photo with you, make sure your head shows. Okay, and just put this on YouTube. Costs you nothing. Make sure you put a number down there. All right. Can you do that? And be better if you just made about a 1-minute video. Hi, I'm Ron LeGrand. I buy houses here in Jacksonville. I'm really interested in buying yours. So if you're ready to sell, before you call a realtor, please call me. We pay full price, which doesn't mean anything except whatever the seller and you agree upon. So don't get excited about that. Pay cash and quick closing, and everything's confidential. Whatever you want to say in a minute. If you put that into a video, it's going to get more hits than just holding this sign up. All right. And by the way, you don't want it to be professional. You want it to look stupid, and that's what they respond to is stupid. It seems like.
And even if you didn't want to do that, you could use AI. Honestly, now they have avatars where you could have them say whatever you wanted. So if you didn't want to do it, there's another way too. So
guys here took one of my videos and attached AR to it. Now I speak 3 languages. I speak Chinese and I forgot the other 2. I'm sitting there watching them speak language. You kidding me? 4 counting English. All right. So Al, if you had to give them a piece of advice on getting started that you've learned and had a tough time with in the beginning?
I just think of the big part is, and I hear you say it all the time, is just don't quit.
Yeah.
Just keep trying new things. Don't give up. People come to this and all typically with a lower budget. So it's going to require you to do some work. And I know there's this idea that we're going to leave boot camp and send a letter and make $100,000 in a month. And all that is possible. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to take time. So just know that you're in a startup business. You're going to go through bumps and going to get hung up on, and you're going to go through a lot of stuff, right? But you just got to stick with it. Find out what's working for you. Find out what you're comfortable doing, and double down when you find it. And yeah,
it's worth it in the long run.
It is. Yep.
And it's really not that hard. Your first year will be your toughest year. After that, smooth gliding. In fact, you look back a year from now and say to yourself, "What the heck was I afraid of?" Kind of laugh at what you're thinking.
It is funny.
Yeah, because we explode the myths in the business. And there's a whole society of people out there that have no idea how to buy a house without using their money. Okay. We buy a lot of houses without using my money, and some we use my money only because I can pay cash for a house and quickly flip it. And if you're sitting on cash inside and outside of your IRA, especially in your IRA, think about it. One house we put under contract for $60,000, and literally 9 days later we sold it for $112,000 and didn't touch it. Think about that being your IRA. You just made $52,000 on a house that you never even had to buy, but your contract was in the IRA. All that money's got to go in your IRA, tax free forever. So to pay you to learn this business and put those two together, grow a lot faster tax free than you do on taxed. So really your advice is, A, relax, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get upset when it don't work like it did in the seminar.
Yeah.
And keep plugging. Keep coming back. All my boot camps, you can come back as long as you want. First year is free. And frankly, I don't know anybody that's been really, really successful, hadn't been there at least 3 times. So
it does take, I've been to a lot of them, and I still to this day catch things when I step in here and sit down. And I think you had mentioned it a second ago, but you never, you just keep going. Like at the end of the day, just keep going, be patient.
Yeah.
And, good things will happen.
I'm talking about my quick start real estate school. Just go on the site and you'll hear all about it there. I got it on half price right now for, I think it comes off this month or next. I can't remember. So anyway, I think that's about enough for today. I wanted you to meet Adel.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We'll see you real soon. By the way, if you want to get in that November, quick start school now. You better get registered because we can only hold 100 people. We're taking 2 buses out. That's all we can hold, 100 people. I haven't taken buses out in years and years and years and years. So I'm doing it because I got browbeaten this morning. No reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.